But I think your approach is one that can help move us forward. You're in a particular hotbed of this. Being in North Carolina, you're kind of at one of the fault lines geographically and politically
True.
around this, and very much, I hope that you remain energized because what you're doing is very important, brother.
Thanks, my man. Yeah, I'm definitely going to remain energized. This has been a long time coming for me. I've been thinking about doing the work that I'm doing right now for literally decades. So, um, this is I'm thriving, to be honest. Like, in the chaos, I'm thriving. It's kind of weird, to be honest, watching so many people flounder and not really know which way to turn and whatnot. I feel like I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly why I'm doing it. Like, and I've been waiting to do it. So it feels amazing for me. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna lose any motivation because I know that the work that I'm doing is impactful. That's one of the best things about teaching is whether you did a good job or not. You're not gonna step out of a class that you just taught and be like, and if it didn't go well, be like, oh, I nailed that. That's never that's never
Yeah.
gonna be the thing that happens. Like, you're gonna know exactly how people felt, how they responded to you, whether they got something or not. And the feedback that I've gotten from hosting space for these kinds of conversations, the growth that people have shown, the number one thing that I get told, Justin, is that people end up thinking about these issues in a way that they hadn't in the past.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what I'm out to accomplish because the way most people are thinking about the issues of race are not based on a foundation of truth. And it's not anyone's fault. It's just, well, I mean, it's some people's fault, but they're long and gone. Okay. And ultimately, the people who are perpetuating that kind of foundation of falsehood on the subject of race, they're not going to stop. And so somebody out there has to be the one to say, for this very important issue that does show up in people's lives, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, that does have impacts on our lives, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not. Like, ultimately, if we want to build a future world that does recognize our common humanity, we can't be dividing ourselves on the fallacious concept of race, which was only created in order to rank us as human beings. And we already know that that's not
Yeah.
a thing. So, yeah, we got to let it go. And we're never going to let it go until we get on the same page with it and people choose letting it go as a value, not just for themselves individually, but for our entire country. That's the contraband wagon. That's our goal, is to put people to that choice. Will you accept anti-racism as a value for your life and for your country? I think that we're ready to do that. I think that we're in the death throes of white supremacy. There's some white Christian nationalists are desperately trying to hold on to their imaginary theocracy, which will never come into existence because people are too stubborn and they don't seem to realize that, but they're going to learn soon enough. So I just think that we've got to be honest about this subject and the power that it actually does have. You know, frankly, it's on the scale of a force like gravity, and I think that conceptually is not what people think about when they think about race, which is why so many people can easily dismiss it and easily just say, well, look, I'm not thinking about it. Nothing's happening to me, right? I'm perfectly fine. But in reality, the consequences of not dealing with race or letting it fester, letting people do Nazi salutes on stage, people who are supposed to be representing our country. Um, as if we're gonna do that, that has impacts beyond the scope of anything that you and I, Justin, can talk about here and
Yeah.
now. And ultimately, unless we kind of take the power out of racial hierarchy, we can't eliminate it completely right now anyway. But what we can do is slowly suck the power out of it.
Yeah.
And a big part of what's empowering it is ignorance, racial ignorance,
Yeah.
And so I just want to give people a chance to be informed and then make a choice on that information. What do you want to do now? Do you want to take on a value of anti-racism? Do you want to feel empowered in doing that? Because literally there's so many ways of doing it, and it starts just by education, just by
That's right.
reading, So yeah, that's the work we're doing here. And I really appreciate you listening to me, my little soapbox explanation. But yeah, that's the work we're doing here. And it's really been great talking to you about your experience, your evolution of race consciousness. Let me ask you something. Do you still feel like you have more to go in learning about the subject of race?
I do believe I still have more to learn about it, but I am shifting my focus now towards policy and the impact of policy on communities. And I'm also shifting my focus towards the experience of the American worker, in this time of great corporate power. And we're seeing corporations start to call people back into the office, and there's a level of control that companies have over the lives of people in a way that I think supersedes even governments. So that's really where my area of study is shifting, but definitely race. I'm going to be out there speaking about company men, but I think future projects, I'm trying to look at that intersection of policy and then, the effects of policy on the lives of workers.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, you're definitely, I mean, race is going to intersect that no matter what, for sure. As soon
100%,
as you start looking at
100%,
the data, on that and start digging
100%.
in. Yeah. But yeah, for sure. That's great. We need people who are doing that kind of policy investigation and bringing facts to the table because um, right now we do not seem to be doing that. Our government seems to be making decisions willy nilly, you know, um,
Man,
and not based on facts, not based on data, not based on any kind of real analysis. And that's scary, man. I'm very
yeah,
concerned. But on the other hand, I work with some students in my classes today, and it was just wonderful seeing some of those light bulbs come on, seeing people work on problems. And hopefully, I'm doing my little part in the classroom, doing my little part with these
yeah.
podcasts and these conversations. And it was very enlightening for me to have this discussion with you, Justin. So I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate what you're doing because I think that what you're doing is going to create a more inclusive world for us. And I think the way you're going about it is going to be um, a way that a broader segment of our population can be engaged in.
That's
You
my
know,
hope.
I think one of the things that we're seeing right now is that with Americans, yeah, I think whether people are liberal or conservative, every American has a slice of libertarianism in them, and I think a lot of people don't like feeling forced into doing things, but the way you're going about it is more open and inclusive. And I think people might choose to learn through the approach that you're trying to take with the contraband wagon. So just keep it going, man.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that vote of confidence. And your book was excellent. It was a great read. I'm so glad to have met you and been introduced to you. And I hope that we can continue working together in the future. You mentioned coming on the pod. I definitely want to have that conversation with you when you're ready. Everybody, the book is Company Men by Justin Grant, a wellness guide for Black men in corporate America. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope that you will follow along on my journey. All right. Follow me, brother.
Peace, man.
Take care. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. For access to the full length conversation and all of the 2-hour long unedited conversations that I've had on race, click the support link in the description below. Thanks for your support and see you next time.